What's up, Broncos country? Welcome back to the Broncos Podcast Network and YouTube for the latest episode of Broncos Now. As always, I'm your host, Sydney Jones. And coming up on today's episode, Hall of Fame safety Steve Atwater joins the show. We'll take a look back at Sunday's win over the Chargers and look ahead to the Broncos' Saturday night matchup in Detroit. All that and more coming up. Joining me here in the Broncos podcast studio for today's episode of Broncos Now is Hall of Fame safety Steve Atwater. Steve, thanks for joining me today, per usual on our Tuesdays.
It's always great to join you, especially after a victory. The
I know.
Got to be on cloud nine. The coaches got to be on cloud nine. I know the Broncos country is on cloud nine.
I know, Steve, there was a lot of Broncos fans at the game. On Sunday in Los Angeles.
Yeah,
they were excited.
We travel well.
We do.
Especially to the division games.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a fun one in Los Angeles. Bummer you couldn't have been there, Steve, but
it's all good. It's all good. We still enjoyed it. We had a little get together.
Oh, good.
Yeah, with the alumni.
Oh, nice.
So that was really nice.
That's great. Well, Steve, looking at the game, I want to start by looking at the defense, specifically 6 sacks by 6 different people. 2 of those guys, defensive backs too. Yes. Everyone's getting to the quarterback.
It really is amazing just how many guys Vance Joseph has going at the quarterback to have those opportunities, and it's got to be so exciting for them to be able to make the plays and, knowing that they're having an impact on this team winning games and the defense playing well. So I know the guys got to feel good about it. The coaches are fired up. Again, everybody's hyped. You got to keep it rolling up.
Got to keep it rolling. Steve, you mentioned Vance Joseph. I want to talk about him for a minute because a lot of guys in the locker room after the game, they credited the turnaround to him, and head coach Sean Payton, he talked about him too, about how he just brings so many different combinations and has a lot of different looks or different style of quarterbacks too. What have you just thought overall about his scheme, the second half of the year here? Yeah,
I've always had a ton of respect for Vance Joseph, and also just the way that he coaches, his style of leadership. He's one of those calm, quiet, very smart coaches. He's a guy who's I think is a player's coach. He listens to the players and tries to run defenses that will put the players in best position to make plays. And I think the guys respond really well to that. And we see that by the way that they've been playing.
Yeah, Steve, one guy I want to highlight here before we keep on going is P.J. Luck, because he's had a sack in 3 of the last games, and he is the first Bronco in team history to record a sack in 3 consecutive games. First Broncos safety.
Okay, I was about to say.
Let me rephrase. First Broncos safety.
Von Miller got some.
No, absolutely. But first Broncos safety.
Yes. That's impressive.
Yeah.
And many times, safeties don't. Some safeties they don't blitz a lot, but
right.
I really like the way that they're utilizing him. He has a unique skill set for that in terms of the speed, his ability to make plays, and again, he causes fumbles many times when he goes in there, because he goes in there, intentional and knowing exactly what he wants to do.
Yeah, he's been fun to watch. It's been exciting to see him just do so well this season. Steve, this Denver defense, they didn't allow a single third down conversion. And also, that's crazy. Crazy. They limited the Chargers to 1 of 6 on 4th down, too. So what can you just say about their ability to kind of shut the Chargers down on those key downs? Yeah,
well, they went back to the drawing board after last week's loss and made the corrections. The communication was on point. I saw Justin out there on one play. He went up and communicated to him, making sure everybody was in the right position, make sure that they knew what they were doing. And they just been executing well. We're playing a dominant style of defense where guys are flying around. They look like they're having fun, and they're being super physical. And it's contagious. It really is, because the people in the stands, they look like they wanted to jump on the field and play.
They really did. Yeah, Steve, kind of looking at the offense now, one guy that we always talk about, we have to talk about, of course, wide receiver Courtland Sutton. He just keeps coming down with these incredible plays. He had that one-handed 46-yard touchdown catch. What can you just say about his season this year and how he's just been dominant?
Yeah, well, I remember when we drafted Courtland Sutton. I was actually at the draft that year.
Oh, yeah?
And announced him as the draft pick. And, he's just always been just a pleasant human being. And I don't know if everyone sees his work ethic and the type of person he is, because Courtland wants to win. I'm not saying everybody doesn't want to win. I think the whole team wants to win, but Cortland, he's on another level with it. And
I agree.
he not only talks about it, but he puts in the work too during the week in, week out. He's working hard. He's here, after practice, catching balls and, talking to people, uplifting people. He's the ideal football player, captain, leader for any organization. And, for him to be able to go out there, to have the personality that he has, but to also go out there and play with the intensity that he plays with, it's heartwarming. He played like that before he got injured.
Yeah, back in 2019.
I think it took him a little longer than a lot of Broncos country wanted for him to just feel fully good from that. And he's all the way back. He's making those plays, and I love the just the relationship that he and Russ has. They're on the same page, and I know the receiver. I mean, the offensive linemen love that. They love to see their hard work pay off as well. To block for 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds, and see Russell Wilson launch a bomb and Cortland Sutton make a one-handed catch. It's so beautiful.
It really is. Yeah, Russ joked after the game that he felt like the offensive line was blocking for like 35 seconds.
Yeah.
He felt like he had all the time in the world to find Cortland down there.
Yeah, that's great.
Steve, you mentioned Cortland's relationship with Russ. It's been really incredible to watch this year, just how their chemistry has really developed and how special it is, because they do have a special chemistry. Even Cortland was saying after the game that he felt like he had a little birdie in his ear talking to him on that play, that he could hear Russ saying, go deep, go deep.
Yeah, that's especially when that happens, and for people to have that type of muscle memory that you've had to have run it so many times in practice and heard it so many times for it to come back at you and it be second nature in the games like that. So that's a beautiful thing, and I think it's really just the start of something really, really special.
I think so too, Steve. This team is sitting at a 7-6 now, right in the thick of things in the AFC playoff picture. There's 6 teams that are 7-6 right now. Things are getting a little crazy.
Yeah, and I've seen several years where they say it's parity, where a lot of teams are right there together.
Right.
But hey, now it's the important time. And now is the important time. Which teams are going to be able to focus in? Which teams are healthy? Which teams are coming together and not falling apart? I think we are definitely a team that's on the rise, and we've got a lot of good things going for us. And if we can just stay focused, stay honed in, keep believing, the sky's the limit. Who knows where we can go?
Yeah, Steve, having obviously won several Super Bowls and making the playoffs several times in your career, what is, I guess, just your biggest advice in this time frame for this Broncos team and trying to stay focused? How can they stay focused within the final couple weeks here?
Well, I think the biggest thing is not looking past any team, and, regardless of what their record is or how well they've been playing of late. You got to go in there assuming that they're going to play their best ball, and this team, they've been doing that. I don't think they've underrated any of the teams that we've played here, especially lately.
Yeah,
and they got to continue to do that. They got to continue to approach it like, hey, this is the championship, and I want to win the championship, and I'm going to give it everything I got. I'm going to do everything I can to be on the field. We saw a couple of plays where players looked like they were injured and they came back and played. Well, that's what you got to do on championship teams. You may not be 100%, but hey, your 90% or your 85% is better than the next man's. So I love that guys are showing that heart. They're showing that they want to be on that field. They're doing everything they can to keep their bodies right and their minds right. And they're gonna take them a long way.
Yeah, it's an exciting time here right now.
Yes.
Steve, every single week I know we do our player spotlight, our player focus. So who's one guy that you want to highlight this week?
Well, man, I'm a defensive guy. Let me go back to the defensive side over here. Alex Singleton. This guy, I remember before we signed. Well, right when we signed him. I went and looked at some tape on him. Man, this guy, he's all over the field. He's making plays. He wants to be in on every tackle.
Right.
And I remember, I think I played with that mindset. I'm like, I want to have 20 tackles by the time the game is over. He wants to have more than that. He wants to have 30 tackles because he's flying around every single game. He makes the game fun to watch. he's the kind of player when you turn on the TV, you see him run into somebody like, whoa, you jump up out of your seat and like, yeah, that's a great play. So I love watching him play, and I know that his teammates get a lot of inspiration from his energy and his attitude on the field.
Absolutely,
He makes us a better team, and he's been making plays every single game, and I appreciate that.
He really has. Yeah, Steve, he has the most double-digit tackle games by a Bronco in a single season since 1999. So you're right.
Not surprising.
Not surprising at all.
Yes,
yeah.
He's got the heart, and he's got the motor too.
He really does. Well, Steve, the Broncos are back on the road this weekend as they head to Detroit for a Saturday night matchup. Should be a fun one out there. Going to be a tough challenge.
Definitely going to be a tough challenge, but I think that this team is ready for that. I think they're kind of built for that. I mean, we've been through some adversity throughout the year, and the guys have really responded well. The coaching has been sensational, and I think that will continue, and looking forward to a good battle. But in the end, Broncos going to come back with the dub, I think.
I think so, too. Steve, appreciate you joining the show today. A pleasure, as always.
Thank you, Sid. Appreciate you.
Well, that's going to do it for today's episode of Broncos Now. Broncos Country, thanks so much for tuning in. I'll meet you right back here on the Broncos Podcast Network and YouTube tomorrow for another episode. I will see you all then.